The do-it-anyway imperative. You felt it, that gaping chasm between the life you're living and the life you know in your bones you're capable of building. On one side of that canyon is your current reality, the comfortable, the familiar, the safe. On the other side is everything you've ever wanted, the business, the body, the relationships, the legacy, the profound sense of self-mastery. And between them, not a sturdy bridge, but a fraying tightrope. Crossing it requires a force that has nothing to do with how you feel in any given moment. Today, we're dismantling the greatest lie ever sold about success, the lie that you need to feel motivated, inspired, or ready. We're replacing it with the raw, unglamorous, utterly transformative truth. You must learn to act despite your feelings. You must cultivate the do-it-anyway mindset. This isn't about positive thinking, it's about brute force behavioral override. Think of your mind as a sophisticated but often rebellious computer. It comes preloaded with programs designed for energy conservation, procrastination, distraction, rationalization. These aren't character flaws, they're ancient survival scripts. Your primitive brain sees the risk in the new venture, the social rejection in the tough conversation, the expended calories in the workout, and it screams, danger, abort, retreat to safety. And what does safety look like? The couch, the scroll, the I'll start Monday. The do-it-anyway mindset is you, the conscious operator, taking manual control. It's you inputting the command that silences the alarm and says, system override, execute the task, we are proceeding. This is the crossroads we face not once in a lifetime, but a dozen times a day. It's the moment the alarm blares at 5 a.m. It's the moment you stare at the blank page or the empty spreadsheet. It's the moment you need to have the financial talk or make the scary pitch. In that microsecond, you are not making a logical choice. You are casting a vote for your identity. Every time you hit snooze, you vote for, I am someone who chooses comfort over commitment. Every time you open social media instead of the business plan, you vote for, I am someone who is governed by impulse. But every single time you force the action, when you fling the covers back, when you write the first terrible sentence, when you dial the number with a knot in your stomach, you cast a powerful identity-forging vote for I am someone who keeps my promises to myself. My word to me is law. This is the genesis of real power. It has nothing to do with talent. The world is littered with extraordinarily talented people who are masters of the almost. They almost started. They almost finished. They almost shipped. And their genius dies with them, trapped in a labyrinth of good intentions. Action is the solvent that dissolves that labyrinth. It is the only mechanism that translates the intangible, your dreams, your knowledge, your potential, into the tangible, measurable fabric of reality. You can know everything about nutrition, but until you force yourself to put down the processed food and pick up the vegetables, knowledge is worthless. You can have a vision for a masterpiece, but until you force your hand to make the first ugly stroke on the canvas, you are not an artist, you are a dreamer. The do-it-anyway force is the catalyst. It is the spark that ignites the engine of execution. So the central question of your life becomes, how do you build this override switch? How do you hardwire yourself to act when every neuron is firing in protest? It begins with a ruthless recognition that waiting for the right feeling is a fool's game. Motivation is not the precursor to action. It is almost always its result. You don't wait to feel motivated to start. You start, and then, through the momentum of the action itself, motivation arrives as a reward. The feeling follows the doing. This is the non-negotiable first law of the mindset we're building. Embrace the sheer discomfort of the start as the price of admission. That cold plunge feeling isn't a sign you're wrong, it's the proof you're on the right track, stepping from the known into the unknown, where all growth resides. Slaying the dragons of delay, procrastination and laziness decoded.
Procrastination and laziness are not monolithic enemies. They are complex psychological states, and to defeat them, we must first understand their taxonomy. Procrastination is often not laziness at all. It is counterintuitively a stress response. It's your brain's maladaptive attempt to protect you from perceived threat. That threat could be fear of failure. If I don't try, I can't fail. Fear of success. What if everything changes? Fear of judgment, or simply the overwhelming anxiety of a large, undefined task. The brain chooses the immediate, certain relief of avoidance over the ambiguous future pain of the task. Laziness, on the other hand, can be a symptom of deeper issues: lack of compelling purpose, physical exhaustion, poor nutrition, or even depression. Treating both as simple moral failings is ineffective and cruel. The do-it-anyway mindset provides the weapons for this nuanced battle. Your first weapon is time boxing. You do not attack the amorphous beast of write report. You declare war on the 25-minute period from 2 p.m. to 2:25 p.m., which you rename Sprint 1, Outline Section A. You are not writing a report. You are simply honoring that 25-minute box. This shrinks the perceived threat from a dragon to a lizard. The Pomodoro technique is brilliant for this. The timer becomes your external authority, a benevolent drill sergeant. You can tolerate anything for 25 minutes. Your second weapon is the 2-minute rule, popularized by James Clear. If a task will take less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. Reply to that email, hang up the coat, wash the dish. This prevents the accumulation of psychic clutter, those dozens of tiny, unfinished tasks that subconsciously drain your mental bandwidth and create a backdrop of unease that fuels procrastination on bigger things. More importantly, it trains your brain for immediate action. It's a steady drip of completed cycles, building momentum. Your third and most powerful weapon is the 5-second rule from Mel Robbins. The moment you have an instinct to act on a goal, get up, start working, make the call, you have a 5-second window before your brain kills it with excuses. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. This is the do-it-anyway mindset weaponized into a cognitive countdown. You are not arguing with your feelings. You are physically interrupting the procrastination pattern and launching your body into motion. The action dictates the emotion. For laziness rooted in lack of energy, you must audit your foundational inputs. Are you fueling your body with energy-sapping foods? Are you chronically sleep-deprived? Are you in a perpetual state of low-grade dehydration? You cannot command a cell phone with a dead battery to perform, and you cannot command a malnourished, exhausted body to be energetic. Discipline here means being disciplined about sleep, nutrition, and movement first, creating the physiological platform for motivation to even exist. Finally, you must interrogate the laziness. Ask, am I truly lazy, or am I just deeply, passionately uninterested in what I'm supposed to be doing? Sometimes what looks like laziness is your soul's rebellion against a path that isn't yours. The solution isn't to force yourself harder down the wrong path, but to have the courage to redefine the task, or even the goal itself, to align it with something that genuinely stirs your spirit. But for the essential, non-negotiable tasks that simply must be done, you deploy the weapons above. You stop negotiating with the version of you that wants to quit. You become your own decisive parent, not your indulgent friend. You acknowledge the feeling, I really don't want to do this. And then, with the full force of your commitment to future you, you say, I know, and we're doing it anyway. The compound interest of identity. How habits sculpt your future self. Forcing action is the spark. Discipline is the flame. But to build a lasting fire, a warmth that sustains you for decades, you must tend to the hearth, your daily habits. Here is the profound shift. Stop thinking about habits as things you do. Start thinking of them as votes you cast for the person you are becoming. Every action is a whisper to your subconscious, defining your identity. If you force yourself to run each morning, you are not just checking a box. You are, with each step, whispering, I am an athlete. I am someone who prioritizes health. I am disciplined. If you sit down to write for an hour each day, you are whispering, I am a writer. I am creative. I see projects through. Conversely, every time you hit snooze, you whisper, my comfort is more important than my commitments. The power of this framework is that it makes habit change an identity upgrade, not just a behavioral to-do list. You are not trying to run, you are becoming a runner. This identity then guides future actions naturally. What does a runner do? A runner runs, even when it's raining. A runner chooses foods that fuel performance. The habit is the behavior. The identity is the deep magnetic pull that makes the behavior feel authentic and inevitable. So how do you install these identity-forging habits? You must make them obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying, a la James Clear's Atomic Habits. For your keystone habit, the one that will trigger positive ripple effects, you engineer your world. Want to read more? Place a book on your pillow every morning. Make it obvious. Pair the new habit with something you already enjoy. Listen to your favorite podcast only while on the stationary bike. Make it attractive. Start so laughably small it's impossible to fail. Read 1 page. Do 2 push-ups. Make it easy. And critically, create immediate reinforcement. Track your streak on a calendar. The visual chain is immensely satisfying. Give yourself a small, healthy reward. The satisfaction cements the loop. The enemy here is the all-or-nothing plague. You miss one day and think, I failed, and abandon the entire effort. This is catastrophic thinking. Your identity is not shattered by one missed vote. It is built by the majority. The goal is not perfection, it is the reliable majority. If you act in alignment with your desired identity 80% of the time, that identity will solidify. The 20% of lapses are just data, not destiny. They tell you where your system needs adjustment. Maybe the habit wasn't easy enough, or the satisfaction wasn't immediate. You tweak, you recommit, and you continue. This is the compound interest of the self. A single 1% improvement is invisible today, but a 1% improvement compounded daily across the domains of your health, your skills, your finances, and your relationships over the course of 5 years creates a gap between you and your former self that looks like genius or luck to an outsider. But you will know it was neither. It was the relentless daily application of the do-it-anyway principle to the micro-choices that sculpted your macro reality. You didn't build a masterpiece in a day. You laid one perfect brick, and then another, until one day you looked up and saw a cathedral where there was once empty land. Your habits are those bricks. Choose and lay them with the precision of someone who knows they are building their forever home.
The alchemy of adversity, forcing growth from friction. No journey of forced action and disciplined habit proceeds in a straight line. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, will test your resolve. It will send obstacles, setbacks, failures, and plain bad luck. This is not a bug in the system, it is the system's most vital feature. The do-it-anyway mindset finds its ultimate expression not when the path is clear, but when it is utterly obscured. This is where we perform the alchemy of turning leaden challenges into golden opportunities for a tougher, smarter, more resilient version of yourself. The first rule of this alchemy is to separate the event from the narrative. The event is neutral. The client said no. The project failed. I got injured. The narrative is the story you attach to it. I'm a fraud. I always fail. My progress is ruined. The force of action must first be applied to your own thinking. You must consciously, forcefully replace the catastrophic narrative with a strategic one. The client said no. What can I learn about my pitch? The project failed. What were the single biggest points of breakdown? I got injured. How can I adapt my training to maintain momentum? This reframe is an active, disciplined choice.
It is you forcing your mind to look for the lesson, the leverage, the hidden door within the apparent wall. This is how challenges become your curriculum. Secondly, you must lower your threshold for what constitutes action. In a crisis, your normal 2-hour deep work session might be impossible. The do-it-anyway mindset adapts. Can you do 20 minutes? Can you make the one most important phone call? Can you simply review your plan? The goal is to maintain momentum, however microscopic. A body in motion tends to stay in motion. One small, forced action prevents the stagnation of despair from setting in. It sends a signal to your psyche, we are still in the fight. This is also where your habit fortress pays dividends. When everything else is chaos, the anchor of your morning routine, your 5 minutes of meditation, your page of journaling, becomes a sanctuary of control. It's a reminder that not everything is broken. Furthermore, you must learn to force gratitude for the obstacle itself. This is advanced alchemy. It's not about being happy you failed. It's about actively, verbally acknowledging, this difficulty is forcing me to develop skills I was avoiding. It is exposing weaknesses I needed to see. It is making me more creative, more patient, more strategic than my comfortable path ever would have. By forcing this perspective, you rob the obstacle of its emotional power and turn it into a training partner. Finally, you must pre-commit to the comeback before the fall even happens. Know with certainty that you will be knocked down. Your pre-written script for that moment is, this is part of the process. This is where I get better. What is the very next physical step I can take? This pre-commitment turns you from a reactive victim of circumstance into a proactive architect of your response. The obstacle is no longer a stop sign. It is a detour sign, and you are still driving. In this way, every forced action through adversity doesn't just move you past a problem, it etches a new, deeper layer of self-trust into your being. You prove to yourself in the most visceral way possible that you are not just fair-weather disciplined, you are resilient, you are anti-fragile. You are the kind of person who doesn't just survive storms, but learns to sail by them. The launch sequence, your final countdown to a life of action. This is it, the moment of transfer. Everything we've architected, the mindset, the discipline, the tactics, the identity, the resilience, now converges on this single point, your next action. The grandest vision without a next action is a hallucination. So we end not with inspiration, but with a launch sequence. This is your control panel. First, define your battlefield. Right now, name the one area where inaction is costing you the most. Is it your health, your finances, a relationship, your creative work? Choose one. Clarity concentrates force. Second, identify the first domino. Within that area, what is the smallest, most concrete action you can take today that would start a chain reaction? It is not get fit. It is walk for 15 minutes at 5 p.m. It is not write a book. It is write 200 words before breakfast tomorrow. Third, schedule the assault. Open your calendar right now. Block the time for that first domino. Give it a name. Treat it with the sanctity of a meeting with the most important person in the world, because it is. You are meeting future you. Fourth, preempt the saboteur. Know what your brain will use. Write it down. Then write your do-it-anyway counterscript next to it. I'm tired to I can be tired and still walk for 15 minutes. Motion creates energy. Fifth, commit publicly. This is your ignition. Comment below with your I will statement. I will, your first domino action, by, time, on, day. You are no longer thinking. You are declaring. You are creating social accountability, joining a community of fellow action takers. Finally, initiate the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 countdown. When that scheduled time arrives and the resistance rises like a wall, you do not think.
You begin the final mental countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, launch. Move your body, open the document, lace the shoes, dial the number. The magic is not in the scale of the action, but in the fact that you initiated against resistance. You fired your override switch. You have just taken the single most important step in any journey. You have broken the inertial pull of your former life. From this point forward, your task is simple, though not easy. Protect the momentum. Tomorrow you will do it again and again. You will stack days into weeks and weeks into a new identity. You will face obstacles and you will use them as fuel. You are now an operator of the do-it-anyway mindset. This is your new normal. The world does not give you the life you want. It responds to the life you demand through your consistent, forceful actions. So go demand it. Your journey is no longer a dream, it is a project, and you are now officially, irrevocably underway. The clock is ticking, your first domino is waiting. What is your first move? Declare it below, and then go force it to happen. I'll see you in the arena.
If this video motivated you, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss future content. Comment below and let me know where you're watching from and what goal you're working toward. Share this video with someone who needs motivation today. Let's grow and win together.